So what I'm going to talk about today is the European case against the European Union. My claim is that the initial goals of the European Union were great. They were about free trade and cooperation between countries. But I believe that we've moved away from that and that we should move back to what the founding fathers of the European Union believed. And I'm going to lay out the specifics of why I believe that, how we got here, and what I think we can do about it. I'm increasingly skeptical towards that. The problem is that government power is a bit like the universe. It keeps expanding. And I'm more and more skeptical that there's a real possibility to reform the EU. There's good incentive. There's some leaders in the European Union that think there are changes that we can do. But ultimately, I'm more on the pessimistic side of this argument. Well, it depends on the country, essentially. I mean, my home country is Luxembourg, very dependent on the countries around it. We don't do that much international trade in comparison to the UK. So for us, it would be very difficult to leave. But if it comes to other countries, such as Spain or Italy, I believe that these countries have the power to do that. And I'm very optimistic that they could also cooperate with the European Union without needing to be a member of it. And there's countries that show that this works. If it comes to Norway or Iceland, other countries manage outside of the EU. So it really depends on who we are talking about. After this European election, I believe that we need disintegration. We need to focus on the things. What we do need to do first is to establish what do we really want to cooperate on. And to me, that's one of the main things is free trade. And then we need to focus on that and get it right instead of trying to regulate everything and harmonize everything. I think that by trying to expand the competences of the EU, it makes itself more and more enemies, and the biggest problem for me is that it makes itself more and more enemies that are extremists, either the extreme right or the extreme left. And what I try to do is warn people about this phenomenon and say, okay, let's go back, let's go to the initial steps and keep it there. I think the worst policy that we have in practice right now is the common agricultural policy. I'm going to talk about this tonight. It basically subsidizes farmers at the expense of farmers in Africa, for instance. So what we do is we subsidize our farmers, they export to Africa, and we don't allow imports from Africa. So basically what we do is we impoverish people with our trade practices around the world just so that some people will vote for certain political parties in Europe. To me, that exemplifies what is wrong with the European Union, and I want to go into detail on that in my talk.